Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and Restless official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Victoria has ran large corporations, been married and remarried, and had a child who came back to life. She should therefore have some insightful things to say when Jack asks her for advice on anything. Despite having completely opposite temperaments, Claire and Kyle are nevertheless able to find common ground. Mark Grossman discusses his brother's untimely death at the age of 17. He was really hurting. Lily has finished skirting the issue. She demands answers from Damien rather than asking for them. An agitated tirade. The author of Aristotle Dumas was exposed. Alan also revealed himself as Martin. See the details inside. Spoilers for Tuesday, April 1. Estes Young and Restless. The fact that Damien promises Nate is all well and good. Can his half-brother, however, rely on the shady newcomer to fulfill that pledge? Sally most likely believed that Adam would stop causing her headaches when they split up. However, no. She still occasionally gets impatient with her ex-lover. Now everything makes sense. A blast from YNR's distant past is Damien's boss. Chelsea tells Billy some startling news. Even though he was furious that she had cheated on him with Adam, the fact that they are even communicating shocks us. Spoilers for Young and Restless for Wednesday, April 2nd. Phyllis shocks Sally in Wednesday's recap, and Lily confronts Damien. We're certain that Phyllis gets along well with Sally by the toughest. It would be simpler to herd cats than this, Jack maintains Billy's order. Although for now isn't stated in the spoiler, we all know that Billy never stays in line for very long. Lily is not a hapless damsel in distress, instead, she takes action. Spoilers for Thursday, April 3's episode of Young and Restless. When Victor tells Michael to play hardball, he should be careful what he wishes for. When the lawyer is desperate, he goes all out and doesn't give up. It makes sense that Diane is concerned about Tracy. However, Beth Maitland views the situation her character finds herself in quite differently. Go here to learn more about it. Lauren requests a huge favor from Nikki. The redhead wants her buddy to turn on her own spouse. Remember the soap stars we lost in 2025 as you look through our in memoriam photo gallery. Friday, April 4th. Spoilers for Young and Restless. As Lily begins to investigate the tycoon's true relationship with Damien, Victor is likely the best person to offer her uninvited advice because of his past interactions with the enigmatic Aristotle Dumas. We've all fallen for a maniac at some point, Tracy. She yet questions the choice she made. Audrey gets a surprise invitation. Take a look at our recently added photo gallery featuring the most unstoppable man-stealers from soap operas, starting with Jill. Charlie Mason / Candace Young. Naturally, it was not an issue, and admirers soon began to embrace her portrayal of Victor and Nikki's daughter. Hindley almost instantly felt that this experience would be different even though she had performed in other programs, such as Loving and All My Children. I stayed for my first 3-year contract on both of those shows, she recalls. After that, I would say, well, I had a bunch of fun, but it's time to go on. However, during my first 3 years at Young and Restless, I came to the realization that I truly enjoyed my time here and would never want to leave. She celebrated her 20th year in the position last month, which explains why she has lived in Genoa City for 20 years. The actress chuckles. I'm like, why do I sound different when I look at videos from when I first started? However, that was a long time ago. My voice was different. For me, the time has passed quickly, but I suppose it takes some time for a voice to change. Storyline-wise, Victoria appears to be in a bit of a holding pattern right now. Hindley, though, is eager to see what happens next. Victoria's actor reflects, she's changed over the years, just by the nature of what she's gone through. Her experiences of joy, loss, and disappointment, as well as her downfall and recovery. She has grown up in a large family. She chuckles and continues, so many kids, including now Claire. Hindley reveals that Melody Thomas Scott, Nikki, her own TV mother, highlighted one extremely admirable quality about this newcomer. The newest Newman child was gracious enough to raise herself completely off-screen. Melody claimed that boarding school was suitable for Victoria and that her daughter would also find it satisfactory. It's time to change things up a bit, she says. She claims, I've never gotten to play anything a little naughty. Perhaps Victoria should let her hair down and go a little crazy now. The actor disclosed that he had a younger brother who had mental illness, despite the fact that he does not have any of his own. Grossman remarked, I had a younger brother who passed away. He was diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic, before considering his passing on January 1, 2007. The actor described how the whole progression of him getting worse occurred over a period of 2 or 3 years, even though he wasn't formally diagnosed until probably 3 months before he passed. He was 19 years old, and his younger brother was 17. The family was unaware of what had been happening at the time. Grossman said, I don't know what I thought about it at the time, perhaps I thought, oh, my brother is going through a phase. He remembered his brother's sudden desire to be homeschooled while they were both enrolled in public school. He began to retreat, and things only got worse. Grossman continued, he stopped hanging out with his friends and then it really got real bad, as other things began to happen. He gained weight, dressed entirely in black, avoided public places, and took dark showers. It took some time for things to get that awful. He was so paranoid that there were moments when he was pacing the house with a bat. Additionally, his parents were unsure of what to do at the time. But there was a pretty long period of time where they just did what parents did. They loved their kid, the doctor said after they took him to see him when it got so terrible. He recalled witnessing his brother's suffering, but Grossman added, I don't know that I comprehended what he was going through at the age of 19. Hey, he's going to grow out of this, was probably my first thought at the time. In hindsight, he was in a lot of agony, but I didn't understand. Victor told Michael that he had previously fought Dumas. Dumas' strategy is to enter, strike hard, and then leave. This time, Victor wants to know what he's doing. Later, the mustache told Lily that Damien was a front for Dumas, who was probably assigned to infiltrate the Winters for their company, and that he had nothing. Next week, Lily confronts Damien because she has had enough of his games and wants to know what he and his employer, Aristotle Dumas, are actually up to. Billy is the only one who understands Dumas' strategy and has been discreetly assisting him in regaining Chancellor from Victor and Nikki. He told Sally and Phyllis the majority of this, and both women thought Billy was playing with fire. Sally appears to dislike Billy's contact with his ex as well, as she and Sharon's ordeal of kidnapping has left her with severe PTSD. Next, Chloe says to Sally, perhaps you should learn from your own cunning strategy and remove Phyllis from Billy's sphere of influence permanently. In fact, if Sally follows her friend's suggestion, that could backfire. At last, Lauren informs Nikki, I invited you to meet me because of Victor. I need you to turn on your husband, Nikki. Is this also about the enigmatic Aristotle Dumas, and what does she want Nikki to do? When The Young and the Restless announced in 2018 that Kyle will be returning to Genoa City, fans might have been unsure of how to react. For 8 years, Jack's son, who had grown quickly from a child to a teenager to a young adult, had been in and out of town. They had gone through 3 adult Kyles by the time Michael Mueller first came on our screens on March 29, 2018, and none of them had lasted more than a year. The fact that Kyle returned this time with a grudge the size of Mount Rushmore and a grudge against Jack that led him to work with Victor to not only destroy his father but also sell away his family business was even more confusing. We didn't anticipate this change, but we'll be damned if Mueller didn't step up to the plate and make it work. Even though we were caught off guard by this head-to-head contest, it was nonetheless entertaining to watch him get pounded down by Jack. And it was pure electricity when they started making fun of Kyle's intermittent love affair, Summer. Despite the show's refusal to give us them, we found ourselves supporting this couple more than we had ever done before. The program and Mueller then shocked us once more by forcing us to change our focus and begin cheering for Kyle and Lola's love story from opposing sides of the tracks. As our loyalties shifted over the years, Kyle had to contend with the schemes of people like resentful long-lost cousin Theo Vanderway, cunning bold and beautiful transplant Sally Spectra, and controlling baby mama Tara Locke. Kyle and Lola parted ways, he and Summer got back together, he became a father, and Ashland almost squashed him like a bug in the process, and he kept us on the edge of our seats the entire while. Actually, learning about Harrison was a turning point for Mueller's character, he told Soaps.com a long back. He observes, Kyle was a spoiled kid for a long time. He's a lot more responsible now than he was when I took over the role. He wasn't always his best self, particularly in relation to some of the circumstances involving Lola and Summer. In a sense, learning about Harrison forced him to examine his life critically and decide that it was time to take charge. And when Diane came back from the grave after being absent for the majority of her son's life and decided she wanted to be involved once again, that kind of development was desperately needed. But during the past 5 years, Kyle isn't the only one who has grown. As Kyle evolves, so has Michael in a way, the actor said in response to a question about Mueller's changes throughout the years since joining the program. It's time to decide to be the guy in the room when you get a little older. Kyle and Jack get along well, and I get along well with my dad. Naturally, Kyle's connection with Jack may have endured the hardships, but the same cannot be said for his relationship with Summer. The lovely couple parted ways after Phyllis had too many issues. However, we wouldn't rule them out completely. Even though he and Claire had become close, Phyllis was physically thrust back into Kyle's arms after being abducted recently. Furthermore, Victor desires their reunion, and what Victor desires. In summary, we are confident that Mueller will excel at anything that is thrown at him. So let's celebrate his anniversary and hope that we get to see Kyle for another 6 years, and then another 6.